When the Pittsburgh Steelers set their board in the 2023 NFL Draft, Nick Herbig was one of Mike Tomlin's two favorite edge prospects in the class. He has proven Tomlin right almost every time he's seen the field since then, but he's still a relatively unknown player on the national scene, stuck behind T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith. That won't change in 2025, but J.J. Watt gave a ringing endorsement of the third-year player during today's episode of The Pat McAfee Show. Herbig is great. Underrated, Watt said. Very underrated. T.J. Watt, who just agreed to a record-breaking contract extension with the Steelers last week, recently posted a photo of himself and Herbig at a training facility in Wisconsin. The two have made a habit of working out together in each of the last few off-seasons. Watt has joked in the past that Herbig is stuck to his hip and difficult to get away from sometimes. That mentor relationship has proven valuable for Herbig as he makes the most of every opportunity he gets on the field. Through 2 seasons, Herbig has 8.5 sacks and 6 forced fumbles in limited action. He's only appeared in 30 games with 5 starts and 606 total defensive snaps. Watt alone played 938 defensive snaps in 2024, so Herbig's production has remained on pace for a statistically impressive full season if he ever gets the chance to start. Assuming a full season of 938 snaps at the current pace he's on, Herbig would have 13 sacks and 9 forced fumbles. That would be just shy of an NFL single-season FF record held by Charles Tillman, Osi Umenyiora, and Robert Mathis. With Watt under contract long-term, Herbig's path to extended playing time is unclear. Highsmith and Watt have both dealt with injuries in recent seasons, so he is always just one snap away. Though Jack Sawyer now enters the fold as a 4th-round rookie that the Steelers are high on. If Herbig plays well this year, he could be an extension candidate next offseason before he enters the final year of his rookie deal. The Pittsburgh Steelers want to get back to their championship ways. Perhaps bringing back some uniforms from their glory days will help with that. With that in mind, they unveiled new throwback uniforms for the upcoming season. The Steelers are going to be one of the teams to watch in 2025. They made the types of moves that a team with Super Bowl aspirations usually makes, but they might not be able to live up to those lofty expectations. DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers can be one of the best WRQB combos in the game, but that will all depend on protection. Pittsburgh's offensive line has left a lot to be desired, and while it has some young and promising players, they need to prove that they can hold their ground in the NFL like they did in college. On defense, they lost a prime part of their identity by trading Minkah Fitzpatrick, but they got another elite veteran in return in Jalen Ramsey. Some argue that they could and should move Ramsey to safety, just like many veteran cornerbacks have done later in their careers. Rodgers has already admitted that this will most likely be his final season, and with almost a decade since their last postseason win, another wasted year might be enough for the front office to move on from head coach Mike Tomlin. Football is finally making its long-awaited comeback as the Pittsburgh Steelers prepare for training camp. It is a time when jobs will be won and lost across the depth chart. There will be competition and spots up for grabs. Don't be shocked if a couple of names emerge from the shadows to dethrone a notable veteran or two when the 53-man roster gets situated. It's not common for a recent free agent addition to lose his job with his new team only a couple of months on the job. Brandon Echols signed a 2-year, $6 million contract with the Steelers when free agency began in March. He is a reliable depth player who could provide experience to the cornerback room. Since his addition, things have started to turn sour regarding his job security. The cornerback position remains questionable for the Steelers heading into training camp. They have starters at different positions, but the health of Darius Slay and the deployment of Jalen Ramsey are unknown. Joey Porter Jr. is a wild card as the inconsistent cornerback could either turn into a star or a dud going into a make-or-break campaign. Several questions need answers at the position during the preseason process. Pittsburgh Steelers could cut Brandon Echols from roster if he struggles at training camp. The first depth chart released by Mike Tomlin will be telling regarding Echols' chances of making the team out of camp. He should be a lock, but the addition of Ramsey and his lack of snaps at the slot cornerback position make his situation precarious. Although the veteran has experience at the position, the coaching staff's lack of desire to play him at different positions should be a red flag. Pittsburgh has plenty of potential options at the cornerback position who could earn a spot on the final roster. Corey Trice Jr. and Beanie Bishop are two up-and-coming cornerbacks who could push Echols for his backup position. Ideally, the Steelers would prefer for Trice and Bishop to jump ahead of a veteran when training camp concludes. It would boost their youth and potential in the secondary. Tomlin and General Manager Omar Khan will probably keep 5 or 6 players at the position when players get released. Porter Jr., Slay, and Ramsey are the only locks to make the club. Everyone else will battle for positioning on the depth chart in hopes of keeping their jobs. Echols has an uphill battle as he must beat younger players who have an opportunity to progress into better players than he is. The decision to cut the veteran cornerback would be shocking. It's not every day the Steelers move on from a free agent signing that fast. His release would save Pittsburgh little cap space, so there is no incentive to cut him for cash savings. Echols might have the inside track to make the roster, but his failure to express his versatility this preseason could create another hurdle to overcome. Aaron Rodgers takes time to know his teammates. Aaron Rodgers took his time signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. For months, the two sides were heavily connected, but no deal was done, leading to endless speculation about Rodgers and the Steelers. When he finally signed with them, Rodgers received criticism for waiting so long, with many people wondering how he could get settled in Pittsburgh with much of the offseason gone. However, Steelers running back Evan Hull recently shared how quickly Rodgers got to know all of his new teammates. "He's a cool dude," Hull said recently via KSTP Channel 5's website. "One thing I noticed about him is he does his research on his teammates, which is really cool to see. He knew stuff about me before we even had a real conversation. Before I told him about myself, he already knew things about me. I was like, that's pretty cool." I noticed the first time meeting another teammate he knew stuff about him too. He really took the time to get to know his teammates. In this year, in the game for him, I was impressed by that. He's just an impressive person in general. Hull has only been in the league since 2023, being a 5th-round draft pick by the Indianapolis Colts. He hasn't done much on the field in that time, only recording 1 catch and 1 carry. He joined the Steelers this past January, signing a reserve/future contract. Therefore, it's even more impressive that Rodgers took the time to learn so much about Hull. He isn't the most well-known player on Pittsburgh's roster. He might not even make the Steelers' official 53-man roster. However, that didn't stop Rodgers from getting to know him. That speaks to how hard Rodgers worked to ensure he could hit the ground running once he joined the Steelers. Other Steelers have shared that when Rodgers joined them, he expressed how he was all in with the team. Hull's experience with him shows that he's walking the walk and not just talking the talk. Rodgers gets a lot of flack in the media, but most of his past and present teammates have nothing but good things to say about him. At 41 years old, Rodgers has made it clear that this will likely be his final NFL season. Despite that, he took time to get to know everyone on the Steelers roster. So far, he's making good on his promise of being all in. Now, that just needs to translate to wins during the season.